Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from northern Maine. I have two reasons why you should subscribe to this channel. The first one is you've already clicked on one of my thumbnails. So that means you have some interest in what this old boy's content is about. The second reason is this channel and its content is all about the great outdoors. Whether it be fishing, hunting, boating, hiking, map and compass. So subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. And let's get on to what today's topic is about. Today I'm going to be talking about it's the first day of deer season. What are we going to do on the first day of deer season? Well, for the most of us, the first day of deer season, a lot of deer hunters seem to think that it's a good idea to get together for a hunter's breakfast down at the local Grange Hall or down at the local store, wherever you have these fishing game clubs in this state. They all think it's a really good idea to get together for a giant hunter's breakfast. Now, I get you. That's probably a lot of fun. But remember, this is the first day of deer season. Do you really want to go out on the first day of deer season smelling like bacon and eggs and whatever else odors that are in there? Odors matter. You've only got, in this state for rifle season, we have 1 month. 1 month to take a deer. And most people, they only have Saturdays. They work Monday through Friday. So you have 4 Saturdays to hunt. Do you really want your first Saturday, which is probably one of the best days to take a deer? They don't know you're coming. But for me, I like to hunt the second week of November. I like to be in the full rut, what I consider is the full rut. So for me, really deer hunting starts about the second weekend. That's when I really start setting on some of my trails that I know I expect some does to be on. With any luck, I will have a buck or two behind them does. So that's what works for me. But my point here with this video is smells and odors and just plain taking time at your hunter's breakfast on opening day. What are you going to do? Get out in the woods at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning? A lot of your deer start moving early morning. They've been out in the feeding beds all night. So by the first light, they're starting to head up these trails to get back into their bedding area where they'll spend the next few hours before you generally move again at noontime. A lot of people don't realize that. They get in and out of the woods. They're usually out of the woods by 9:30 in the morning. And then they're sitting at home until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, I'm here to tell you, deer move as much at noontime as they move at daylight and they move in the evening. I would say a third of the deer that I have taken over the years were taking between the hours of 11 and 2. So just keep that in mind when you're sitting back at your cabin or you're sitting back at home. It's probably not a good idea to be. You might be missing out on your buck. Just something for you to think about the next time you are getting ready for opening day of deer season. That maybe you don't want to go to the hunter's breakfast on opening day. I like to shoot bucks. The only way I know how to shoot bucks is to be out in the woods, setting in one of my ground blinds or setting in one of my tree stands. So keep that in mind, that's all. I lost out on a buck one time. I don't regret what I did, but I did lose out on a buck one year. I had a particular run. It was behind an old fella's house that I really liked. There was one of them funnel sites that had 4 or 5 deer runs that come into it. And I'd been working that run for 3 or 4 years figuring it out. And I finally got to the point where I felt that I had it figured out, and I really did have it figured out. But when I got there that morning, the old fella, he was up. And he said, come on in and have breakfast with me. Well, I'm kind of parking in his driveway, and I'm hunting behind his house. So I really was in a position where I really couldn't say no. But what that did for me was my ground blind on that site was about a 15-minute walk behind his house. So by the time I got done breakfast with him, it was 6:45. So I hustled into that ground blind just as fast as I could go. I got there. Actually, that happened to me twice. Once was for breakfast, and once I was just plain late. But I had 2 bucks that year come across that site. But I couldn't get the first one. You need to be able in this state. You got to shoot a buck. You can't. So you got to, and it's got to be a certain amount of length on the rack, all that stuff. So I didn't really have too many windows. That it was really thick in there with spruce trees. So I could see him, but by the time I got him figured out that he was a shooter buck, he was out of my window that I could shoot. So I lost out on that buck. And then a couple of weeks later, when I was having breakfast, I knew that buck was coming through there. But anyways, I just got into my stand just in the nick of time to catch him coming across. Again, I wasn't quite to my stand, but I did not have a shot. So that's why I'm kind of bringing this video up. It's a mistake that I made 25 years ago on that particular area that I was hunting in the state. So think about that the next time you're having that egg. Is it really worth an 8-point buck to have that egg and a cup of coffee with your buddies? Or would it be better spent out in the woods with a well-sighted in rifle and a well-positioned ground blind before the sun comes up so you can tag an 8-point buck? Just a little food for thought for you. Thanks a lot for coming along on this. At the end of this video, I will have some links to more videos on my thoughts about deer hunting and my tips and techniques that I use, as well as up here in the right-hand corner of your screen, I will put some cards in there, a playlist for you. So thanks a lot for coming along, and I will see you in the next one.